Good morning, everybody. Today I want to talk about bowel management. And this is one of my favorite subjects because it is so incredible, so fascinating, and vitally important. You know, if you're a human being walking around on this planet, then you need to understand about how important it is to keep a clean bowel. Many years ago, I read this book called Dr. Jensen's Guide to Better Bowel Care. And in this book, Dr. Jensen talks a lot about the bowel and how important it is to keep it clean. When we eat food, especially food that takes a long time to digest, like I talked about in the meat video, meat is something that sits in the colon for years and years. It takes a very long time to digest. But any food, processed foods or any kind of foods that don't go through the body quickly, and then also are causing other foods to not go through the body quickly like they should. Those foods sit in our colon and they just sit there and they ferment and they putrefy, and it ends up causing all kinds of problems and disease in the colon. And it backs up into all the other organs of the body. And like I said before, the colon is the sewer system of the body. And so you have all this food going in, and then this waste being created just naturally through having, the digestive process and the waste that comes out. And it's just sitting in the colon, and then it's never coming out. If it doesn't come out, then it's going to back up into all the other systems in the body and cause disease and all kinds of problems. If you are not having a bowel movement after every meal, then you need to clean your colon. Your system is not working smoothly and everything is not flowing with ease. And I know that doesn't sound normal. It's not normal for most people. Most people only have, or some people I should say, only have a bowel movement once a week. Some people only have a bowel movement once a month. This should be a red alert. This should be a red flag. That is not healthy. Once a day is not healthy. You need to be having a bowel movement after every meal. So that could be 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many meals you eat. But it is vitally important that you keep the colon clean. And in just a minute, I'm going to show you the colonics board that I have and how you can get started doing that. But when food builds up and waste products from our digestion build up on the inside of the colon, it builds up on the walls, and so it makes the wall of the colon keep getting smaller and smaller, and then things can't pass through very well, and not very much comes out, and not very often. It's just like whenever you have a heart attack, your arteries get so closed in with the waste on the sides of the walls of the artery and tartar and things like that, that nothing can pass through, and you have blockage and not very much gets through. It's the same thing in the colon, and you need to keep everything cleaned out so that everything flows through with ease. A long time ago, the doctors understood how important it was to keep a clean bowel. And whenever anyone would get sick and go to the doctor or go to the hospital, especially infants, the very first thing they would do was give them an enema. And it would almost immediately take care of any problems that they were having. And almost all diseases begin in the colon. And the reason is, whenever a baby is being made in the womb, that little embryo, it starts out and everything begins in the gut. The gut is the first thing that is there, and then you have all these little buds that come off. All the organs bud out from that bowel. You have the little kidney bud, the little liver bud, the little heart bud, the brain bud, and then of course the arms and legs, and then the spinal cord. And so everything buds out of the gut. Now you know that this is true because whenever you get really upset about something, or you're really nervous, you get up to talk in front of a group of people, a public speech, what happens? Or you go to talk to that, special someone and that you really, really want to talk to, and you're just really nervous, what happens? You get just that sinking feeling in your stomach, like in your gut. Or whenever someone calls with bad news and there's a tragedy, you just, your stomach, it just sinks. Or whenever you, you say, I just have a gut feeling about this. It really is a gut feeling, because the brain and the gut are connected, and so that is true. Now, so are all your other organs connected to your gut, and so they're so connected. And if the gut is not clean, then the rest of the body will not be clean. And so it is vitally, vitally important to understand how to keep a clean bowel, and that it causes so many problems when you do not have a clean bowel. And I don't want to go and start teaching you about food until what kinds of food to put in your body, and you not understand the part about making sure that they get through the body. When you eat fruits and vegetables that are highly digestible, it's so important to eat things that are very, very digestible, and that it will not sit in the body very long. You want a very short transit time from the time that it goes in to the time that it comes out. It should be very quick, very speedily. It should not sit in there and it's just rotting in your body and causing all kinds of disease. If I were to keep piling up garbage in my kitchen every day, day in, day out for 7 days, and I never took the garbage out, can you imagine what kind of mess that would have? And eventually, not just the smell, but mold would start growing, and eventually I would have disease in there. And you're talking about day in and day out for years or weeks or months that you're not really thoroughly cleaning the colon. You're not thoroughly getting everything out, because you might have places in the colon like diverticulitis, where you have like a clamp where it is been collapsed sort of, and you've got just this little bitty place. There could be several places like that on your colon that things are not able to get through. You could have a prolapsed colon where it's not sitting up like it should, and things are, it's kind of sagging and things are not flowing through. And the main thing is, like I said before, having all that waste building up until you have hardly any passage through. And you may have some, but not enough. A lot of times things get backed up, and you just need to clean the airways, clean the passages, clean the pipes, and get everything flowing again. And sometimes you might actually experience constipation or diarrhea. Diarrhea is really just another form of constipation. It is where the body is trying to squeeze everything out, and so only the liquid is coming. So it's really, diarrhea is just another form of constipation. And when we have these problems where we might feel it in the stomach, or we might feel it in other places, and the doctors will just, we have pain somewhere, and the doctor will prescribe a medication or maybe even a surgery, instead of actually looking at the problem, the root cause of why is that pain there. And pain is a red flashing light. It's just saying something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong. But instead of us seeing why that flashing light is going on, we just want to not look at it, not pay attention to it, cover it up, make it stop, cut the wire to it so it'll stop blinking. Instead of realizing that pain is a helpful thing, it's a helpful sensor to know when something is wrong. And a lot of times, instead of paying attention to it, we just want to stop the pain, but we don't ever look to see why the pain's there. Where is it coming from? It is a message to us. It's trying to tell us, pay attention to this area right here. There's something not right. And we just want to, clip the wires and just make it stop. Now think about if we did that with our car. if there's a light on the dashboard, we get really upset, oh, something's wrong. Well, we know something's wrong with the car, and we go take it in to get it checked. And if we were to take it in and he said, oh, I just cut the wire, now that light won't worry you anymore. It won't blink, it won't make a noise, to let you know anything's wrong. I mean, now you don't have to worry about it. You just cut the wire. And then you'd be like, well, that didn't solve my problem. And that's exactly the way it is with your body. If you just stop the pain with medication, it's not solving the problem. You really want to see what is going on under the hood, what's really going on in there. And if I take my car in and get a new engine every year, but the doctor never, the mechanic never tells me how to put engine oil in my engine, then every year I've got another problem, and I'm having to get a new engine every year. So if, when a person comes in with a heart attack, instead of just, patching them up and sending them home, why not talk to that person about how to prevent this from happening again? This is what you're doing wrong. This is where you need to work on it. This is how you can prevent this. But I don't see any system in place where there's any prevention. And I know there's probably a couple reasons for that. A lot of times they may not know, and if they do say they know and they are teaching people prevention, then it's not working, because we have a lot of very troubled, sick people, diseased people in this country and in this world. And a lot of times people don't really want to. It's our own fault. We don't really want to do what it takes to take care of ourselves and do the prevention. We are so much better at just reacting to things than actually being proactive and preventing. And the American Cancer Society says it takes 20 years or more for cancer to develop. So what is developing in your body right now? What is developing in your colon? If it takes 20 years for it to develop, where's the prevention that's going on? Where are the doctors teaching prevention about how not to let this happen? Maybe they don't know how. But I would say that would be a very good way to start. If it takes that long for these things to develop in our bodies, then from the time we are infants, we should be knowing how to take care of our body. When we go to the kitchen, I also want to talk a lot about getting fiber in your body. Fiber doesn't have any nutrients in it. It doesn't have any vitamins or minerals, but it is a mechanism that pushes everything through the colon. And so it's very, very, very important. It's just sort of like a plunger. It just plunges everything through. So even though it doesn't have nutrients, it's that mechanism. It's very, very, very important for your health. Now I want to, also the sanitariums, I wanted to talk about that. That's what Dr. Jensen did. He owned a sanitarium, and it was in California. It was called Hidden Valley, like Hidden Valley Ranch. And what a sanitarium was, is it was a place, it was like a hospital, but it was way out in the country. Hospitals used to not be in the city with all the busyness and the hustle and bustle and the stresses of everyday life and the pollution. They were way out in the country on a nice hillside where there was fresh air and peace and quiet and plenty of room to roam around. And people would go out there and they would get well, and they would be administered to with things that would help them to get well, and that's what Dr. Jensen did. And so one of the things that's part of that is doing the colonics. Now, you can call it a colonic or kalemia, but what it is it's a deep cleansing enema. It's like an enema, but much deeper. An enema only goes a short way, but a colonic goes through the entire large intestine, the entire colon. And I want to take you and show you the colonics board. Okay, now we're in my bathroom, and I want to show you the colonics board. This is how it's set up. You basically have a chair. You lay one part of the board in the chair, you lift up the toilet seat, and you lay the bottom of the board over the bowl. Then up here you have a 5-gallon bucket. You fill that 5-gallon bucket with warm water and whatever type of solution you're going to be using for the colonics. And this tube comes down and it goes all the way into the board here. And then you see the rectal tip coming out there. Of course, you'll have a different one for each person that uses it. And your 5-gallon bucket needs to be at least about 6 feet off the ground. This one might be a little bit higher. It might be more like about 8 or so feet, but at least 6 feet off the ground. And you'll know if it's high enough because the water should flow very easily. If the water is taking forever to come down, then it's not high enough off the ground. If you don't have a closet to put it in, we made this especially for this, but you can use a really sturdy shelf. Build you a really sturdy shelf to put it on, or some kind of anything you can put it up and get it at least 6 feet off the ground, enough to where you have a really good flow of water here. And you can see that little white thing right there. That's where it's a clamp, and you can turn start or stop the water at any time. And what you'll do is you'll just lay a pillow down and a towel so you can get nice and comfortable. And then you'll just start the flow of water. And what will happen is, as the water comes out that tip, it will go in and fill your colon up. And as soon as it fills it up, in just a few seconds, the water will come right back out as more water flows in. So you'll just have this constant flow of water just constantly flowing in and out, unless it gets stopped on something that it needs to break up, and then you'll have a little bit of lapse there, but it's a constant flow of water. As you're laying there on the colemia board, what you want to do is you want to massage your abdomen. So you'll go up on the left side, across the transverse colon, and down on the right side. Up on the left, over, and down. You can use your hands or a tennis ball. And the large intestine comes out of the small intestine on the left side, and then it goes over and then down on the right and out the body. So this will help to move things along during the process. And you will feel some discomfort. There will be some cramping, and so this will really help when you just constantly keep massaging your abdomen until you work through all of that. It takes about 20 minutes to go through that 5-gallon bucket of water, and it feels really good to get everything clean. Just like when you get in the shower and you get everything clean, we need to keep the inside of our bodies clean because there's a lot of things that can be in the colon after years and years and years and years. And a lot of people, like in the back of this book, there's some pretty graphic pictures that show some of the things that have come out of people. And a lot of people, of course, when it comes out, it's in the shape of the colon, and a lot of people have really thick as and as hard as a rubber tire come out of their colon that was lining the sides, the walls of the colon. And that's a lot of toxins and years of waste, and that's causing all kind of problems in the body and the other organs. Also, the different types of solutions that you can put in the water. One is clay water. You can get this at the health food store. You put that in there, and it acts as a magnet and pulls toxins to it and out of your body. And the other one is chlorella. You can use that. It's a very powerful cleanser. It's like the green part of the plant. Put that in, and just like the clay water, all you have to do is just pour it right in. It's ready to go. Pour it in the water, and that's a very powerful cleanser. And then you also have a parasite cleanse, and you just use garlic juice for the parasite cleanse. There can be parasites, worms and things like that growing in your intestine, living in your intestine. One lady had a whole bucket of worms come out. And so I'm just trying to get you to see that there are some things in our bowel that we need to tend to. And you never know what could be developing in there or causing you problems. The other thing is the flaxseed tea. You can use flaxseed, brew it like a tea and put that in the water, and that is. So the flaxseed tea is something you can put in that really soothes the stomach. So if you have irritable stomach or bowel, that will help soothe any of those problems. So those are the 4 different things that you can use in it, and another thing that you need to understand is that your bowel has it needs to have good bacteria in it, because that's what helps to fight the bad bacteria. You need a good army of good bacteria in your colon. It's called intestinal flora. And whenever we get into the kitchen and we're doing maybe some cultured vegetables and fermented vegetables and things like that, I want to talk more about how that can help get good probiotics, which is is pro-body. Like antibiotics is antibody, and antibiotics, they kill the bad bacteria, but they also kill the good along with it. And so you don't want antibiotic, you want a probiotic. If you get enough probiotics, good army of good bacteria into your intestine, then that will help keep your immune system very strong and keep fighting off disease and sickness and illness. So it's very important to get that good intestinal flora in, get a good army of good bacteria in. And so if you have to take antibiotics, which people take antibiotics way too much. Antibiotics are very damaging, like I said, that they're killing the good and the bad bacteria. And so you want to not use antibiotics unless you absolutely have to. And when you do use antibiotics, you want to make sure you follow up with a good amount of probiotics for several days, maybe a week, of a lot of probiotics in your body. And you want to make sure that you're keeping your colon cleansed out. And as I said before, if you're not going to the bathroom and having a bowel movement after every meal, then you are constipated, even if you don't feel constipated. If you do feel constipated, you definitely need to do a colonic. Now, I paid about $250 for this colonic board, but you don't have to do that. You can go look up the Yellow Pages or Google a place. They have colonic centers that you can go to. I don't know how much it is. I think it might be $30 or something like that for a session, and you can go to them and they can provide that for you. And my mother's been to one, but I've never been to one before, so I'm not really sure. But when you very first get on a good colonics cleansing program, you want to do colonic every day for 2 weeks. And so really, by the time you add that up, it might be more economical just to go ahead and buy the board, and then you have an investment. And I'm really glad that I did buy it. I'm very happy that I got it. And so when you get, the first time that I did it, I did one every morning and every night for a week. I did a colonic every morning, every night for a week. I was also doing the cleansing drinks. Wasn't eating anything, but just doing the cleansing drinks. And so it can take a few months for you to get regular. It could take longer than that. It could take a very long period of time. It took me a few months to, I wasn't ever very, had a lot of problems, but, we think that things are normal when they're really not, and I wanted to be very normal and regular and healthy, and so once a day wasn't enough. So once I was doing the colonics, it was a few months before I was regularly going after every meal. So I was a little concerned at first that I wasn't going like I should, but it just takes some time, and then the bowel will be able to rest and heal, and then in a few months or in a period of time, it will get back just like clockwork. And now, before I'm even finished eating one meal, I'll be ready to go before, which is the previous meal is the one that's always coming through, not the one you're working on, but about 4 hours behind. But that's a quick transit time, and you want that transit time very quick. You don't want it to linger and stay in the colon. You want it out. I mean, as soon as that garbage can in the kitchen fills up, don't you want it out of the house? That's what you want to do in the body. As soon as you get, that food in, 4 to 8 hours at least, I mean, you want it to come out. And when people have this waste sitting in their body for years and years and years, there's going to be disease. Disease is going to come out of that. There's no way around it. And it's going to not only be disease in the colon, but back up into all the other organs and the systems in the body. And not just colon cancer, but all kinds of other problems. The women in other countries, they do a colonics once a week just to keep their skin really nice and pretty and healthy. And problems in the skin come from a problem in the colon. A lot of disease comes from a dirty bowel. And you just need to keep your bowel cleaned. And it's very, very important. So I really wanted you to understand this part and how important it is. There was one guy who, when he did a colonic, there was a whole piece of popcorn that came out. And he was astonished because he said he had not eaten popcorn since he was a boy, long time, like 15 years ago. And that just shows you how long that something can remain in your colon, lodged in there, causing all kinds of problems, and you don't even know that that's in there. And so it's really good to just do a thorough cleanse, get the walls of the colon, all that stuff broken down and washed out and clean, and it will make a huge difference. This is a vitally important thing for you to understand about, because most people don't think about cleaning their bowel and that could even be going on. But like I said a long time ago, that was the very first thing that the doctors always did, is give you an enema. And sometimes when you have pain somewhere, not all the time, but sometimes when you have a real acute, very sharp pain somewhere, like maybe you have a headache or a pain going down your neck, you can do a colonics and it can be gone like that quick, really. Lower back pain sometimes, do a colonics. A lot of times the pain that we are having and the symptoms we're having are coming from a backed up colon where things are just, pressure is not moving like it should. And so if you're not going to the bathroom and having a bowel movement after every meal, then I would encourage you to either go to one of those colonic centers and get started on doing that, or buy you a colonic board. And it will be a very good investment, because this is something that now, just for regular maintenance from time to time, I could use it, once a week if I wanted to, but really just use it, every few months, or twice a year, once a year, at least once a year, or after maybe you went on vacation and you didn't eat really as good as you should, or anytime you just feel like you really need a good cleanse when you haven't really been on your best diet, or you feel like things are not moving along, and if you're not going to the bathroom after every meal, then you definitely need to do a cleanse. So it's very good to have this piece of equipment in your home where you can keep yourself healthy, keep everything flowing and cleaned out, and you'll be very glad that you invested in this. And so I just wanted to share that with you, because when we go and start talking about different foods that we're putting in our body, vegetables and fruits and some grains that prepared properly, and that's the next thing that I'm very excited to share with you, is about the grains being prepared properly and before you eat them. These things should just flow right through your body. Fruit is so highly and easily digestible. But when we put those things in our body that weighs our body down and takes forever to digest, then it just builds and builds and builds and builds. It causes all kinds of diseases. Just think about it as the sewer. Just think about that, and how when that backs up, how polluted all that waste and toxins cause all kinds of other problems in the body. And everything is connected. It all comes from the gut. So if you think about that, it is so important to get that waste out of the body. So you can reach me at my email address is righttouchdetail@bellsouth.net. You can also reach me on my blog, www.destiny-dawn.blogspot.com. I'm also on Facebook and right here on the YouTube channel. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.